Hello. This is the Bible in fewer words. We are Carol and Steve Wells. This is episode 152, 2 Kings, chapters 11 through 13. If you enjoy this podcast and the Skeptic's Annotated Bible website, consider supporting us at patreon.com/BFW. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Carol.
How are you?
Oh, I'm fine.
Great. We have another lovely episode to go through today.
Yeah, we have 3 chapters, and we're done with Jehu. So that's good news, right?
Yay! We got rid of Jehu.
But he still kind of lurks in the background of this one a little bit.
Okay. All right, should we just get into it?
Mm-hmm. Chapter 11, verse 1. When Athaliah, the mother of King Ahaziah, found out that Ahaziah was dead, she killed Ahaziah's sons, her grandsons.
Oh my gosh. Why would she do that?
To become queen.
Oh.
Ahaziah was king, so his sons, well, one of them there would be king, I guess.
Yeah.
And so she killed them all so she could be queen.
And a queen that rules, not just a queen in name.
Yeah, she would be queen.
And would this be the first one? Oh, never mind.
Well, would it be the first one? I mean, Jezebel was a queen, but she was a queen with Ahab as a king. I think maybe it would be. We had a judge that was a woman named Deborah.
Oh, that's right.
But the first full-fledged queen? I think so.
But in order to become that very important person, she had to kill her grandsons.
Yeah, and she killed them, but in verse 2 it says one of them, Joash, got away.
Okay, so how could that be?
You think she could collect up? Come on, I'm going to read you a story here and then kill them all, right? But no, one of them got away somehow, Joash.
Oh. So she installed herself as queen, I guess. Or she was anointed as queen, even though she had a son that was still alive somewhere?
I think she became queen just by default, right? There was no king. She killed all the successors to the throne. And that left her. In England, they have this thing, the line of succession.
Oh, yes.
Determines who's going to be king or queen when the current king or queen dies. I don't think they had that at this time.
Okay.
But I think she could claim to be queen by killing her grandsons, and that's what she did. But Joash got away. So that's going to be a problem for her.
It is going to be a problem. Verse 3. Joash was saved by his aunt, who hid him in God's house for 6 years. So the tabernacle?
The temple.
The temple.
Yeah, remember Solomon built that big fancy temple?
Oh, yeah. Meanwhile, Athaliah was queen of Judah.
The priest, Jehoiada.
Okay, we're going to have to say that word so many times, maybe we ought to just say Jeho.
Okay.
Jeho.
All right, we'll call him Jeho.
Okay.
But it's Jehoiada.
Yes.
Okay. The priest, Jeho, called a meeting in God's house. He addressed those in attendance, saying, "Protect Joash. Kill anyone who comes near him."
So that's the little boy that got away.
Right.
So Jeho put a crown on Joash's head and anointed him king.
Then everyone clapped their hands and said, "God save the king."
So now there's kind of a competition between the queen and the king.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh. When Athaliah saw what had happened, she tore her clothes and shouted, "Treason! Treason!"
Jeho said to his soldiers, "Remove Athaliah from God's house and kill her."
So they dragged her outside and killed her.
Yeah.
Okay, this is not really a very nice story up until now.
Jeho made an agreement between God, the king, and the people. The king and the people would be God's people. And as God's people, they would destroy the religious symbols of other gods and kill their priests. So God's people killed Matan, the priest of Baal, at the altar.
So Jeho is a priest, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's the one who kind of said, we got to kill the queen.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right. So since the kid is only 7 years old who's ruling the country.
Yeah, we haven't got to that verse yet, but that's the next verse.
Oh, okay.
Jehoash. And that's something that the Bible does, is it goes back and forth. First of all, there's 2 kings. In verse 21, I have Jehoash, and then in parentheses, Joash.
Yeah.
And the problem is the chapter goes back and forth calling the same guy with two different names. Sometimes it's Jehoash and sometimes it's Joash. Anyway, this Joash guy, who was the surviving grandson who became king, was only 7 years old when he began to reign.
So we just have to remember, sometimes we say Jehoash and we mean Joash.
Yeah, they're used interchangeably, and we will too.
Okay.
Chapter 12, verse 1. Jehoash was king of Judah for 40 years.
So this is the little boy. He started when he was 7, and now he's
that's right.
for 40 years.
For 40 years, the usual 40 years.
Yep.
And he did right in the sight of God, with the priest Jeho instructing him.
Well, that's great. Sounds like they were a good team.
Off to a good start. Yeah.
Verse 3. Still, the high places weren't taken down, and the people sacrificed burnt offerings there. Uh-oh.
Yeah, they just can't stop doing that, can they?
Nope.
Jehoash repaired God's house with the money that he collected from the people.
And this is the Jehoash, whose name is also Joash.
Yes.
All right. King Joash was killed by his servants in a conspiracy. Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
And it doesn't really say much more than that.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, most of the chapter is about him repairing the temple.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was killed by his servants in a conspiracy.
But this isn't the first time that captains or people that worked for a king killed their king.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's one of the many ways that the kings die. Yeah.
Okay, so chapter 13. Jehu's son, Jehoahaz, became king of Israel in the 23rd year of Joash's reign in Judah. Okay, wait a second. Didn't Joash just die?
Yes. But while he was king, remember he was king for 40 years?
Uh-huh.
In the 23rd year of his reign.
Oh, I see.
Then Jehu's son, Jehoahaz, became king of Israel.
Oh, of Israel.
Yeah.
Okay.
While Joash was king of Judah.
All right. Then Jehoahaz did evil in God's sight. Uh-oh. So God delivered Israel into the hands of the Syrian kings, Hazael and Benhadad.
Jehoahaz died, and his son, Joash.
What are we talking about? This is so confusing.
Yeah, it is. So it's another king named Joash, but this is a king of Israel, whereas the other one, the boy king, the grandson that became king, that was the king of Judah. So now we've got a king who is the son of Jehoahaz, and he's becoming the king of Israel in the 37th year when Joash was the king of Judah.
Oh my God.
So we have two Joashes in the same sentence.
Yeah.
And sometimes the Joash they use another name for it, Jehoash. So it's pretty hard to sort out.
Yes, it is.
But we think we're clear here.
So there's a Joash J and a Joash I.
Joash of Judah, Joash of Israel.
Yeah.
And the only one that's surviving at the end of this chapter is Joash of Israel.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to say, are you sure? But I'm not going to say that.
I am. It's Joash of Israel.
Great. So, are we on verse 14?
Yes, we are.
So, Elisha was sick and was about to die. This is the Elisha.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so there was Elijah, and then he was followed by Elisha, and now Elisha's dying.
Right.
Okay. When King Joash visited him, Elisha said, okay, what do you think he's going to say to him? Can you check with God, see if I'm really going to die? I mean, that seems to be what people do when they're going to die.
This is Elisha. He's not going to have anybody check with God. God speaks to him.
Oh, okay. All right. Never mind. So Joash visited him, and Elisha said, hey. Well, he didn't say hey. Open the window and shoot an arrow out of it.
And Joash shot an arrow through the window.
And why is he doing that?
Isn't it bizarre?
Yeah.
It's going to be explained here.
Okay.
All very clear here in a moment.
Elisha said to Joash, the arrow is a sign from God that you will smite the Syrians.
Of course it is. What else could it be? Elisha said to Joash, "Smite the ground with your arrows."
And Joash smacked the ground 3 times with his arrows.
Elisha was angry with him and said, "You should have hit the ground 5 or 6 times, but now you'll only smite Syria 3 times." He had a bundle of arrows, and he smote the ground 3 times with a bunch of arrows.
Okay.
But whether he had 1 arrow or several arrows, he only smited he only smote the ground.
Struck, I think.
Yeah, he only smacked. That's why I said smack, because I didn't know how to do that. Anyway, he smacked the ground 3 times with his arrows. He wasn't told. He just said smite the ground with your arrows.
Yeah.
Elisha didn't say how many times.
No.
He did it 3 times because that's kind of the biblical number.
Yes.
But Elisha said, now that you only did it 3 times, you're only going to smite Syria 3 times. If you had smote it, smacked it 5 or 6 times, you would have smote them 5 or 6 times.
He should have told him that. So he would have known what the rules to the game were.
He should have. But anyway, on most of these things, we're just never going to know. The next verse says,
Then Elisha died, and they buried him.
Yeah, that was the end. He died frustrated, I guess. He only smote it 3 times. What the heck's wrong with you? And that's what upset Elisha so much that it almost just killed him, right?
Almost.
Anyway, he died. Yeah.
All right, well, there's one more line. You want to take that one, Steve?
Okay. Later, as they were burying another man, the body touched Elisha's bones, and the dead man came to life and stood on his feet.
Oh. So wait a second. There was another guy who died.
Yeah.
And they were burying him.
Uh-huh.
And lo and behold, they happened to uncover Elisha's bones.
Yeah, it happens sometimes.
There's not enough space around to have space between the bodies. Maybe somebody was a lazy gravedigger and didn't want to dig a whole other 6-foot deep grave. I don't know.
It's illustrated here with a little picture if you go to the website.
So that guy was dead, but he's no longer dead because his bones touched holy Elisha's bones.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that Jesus never even did.
That is pretty good.
Yeah.
I bet that guy's family were pretty happy that he's not dead now.
Well, I guess.
Depends.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for explaining all this because it was a lot to explain.
Yeah.
Okay. Listeners, thanks for sticking with us. See you next time. Bye-bye.